linda, perigosa, rouba meu coração. Vai quicando, vai jogando, não perde a razão. No batidão, no batidão, só pura tentação. Ela desce, ela sobe, vai na pressão. Menina perigosa, rouba meu coração. Ela desce, ela sobe, vai na pressão.
Hey, welcome back, builders. How's it going today? Now, before we get started, as you can see the title, it says connect WhatsApp to N10 for free. And I get this request a lot. There's so many people who actually want to automate WhatsApp for businesses. And I thought that, you know what, let's do this. So this is just the first build. So I'm actually going to build out a series for this. But if you get this part right, everything that follows is going to be a piece of cake, right? The first step is actually connecting your N8N to WhatsApp. And if you get that part right, it's pretty much just putting the cream on top of stuff, right? For example, adding a booking system, adding customer support and whatnot, right? It's endless. So we're going to connect WhatsApp to N8N for free. Now, we're going to use Meta's own API, which is what's going to separate this walkthrough from the others, because the other walkthroughs I've seen online on YouTube and in the SKOOL community, whatever, right? They use a service called Unipile. Now, those guys are great, but they're expensive. All right. Now, I think you have to pay like $55 up to 5 accounts. And then if you have more than the 5 accounts, you could actually reduce the cost, but still it's not worth it, especially for, beginners who want to just test things out. So this video is going to be your sandbox environment, right? You're going to get a business number. You're going to use your own phone number and you can test things out, right? How does the bot react? What you can actually build out, all that stuff, and everything's for free. Okay. There is a payment. Okay, but that's just a disclaimer that you don't need it, right? That's only when you message the customer, and you don't really need to do that, right? You could send a message as a customer first. For example, it's a lead, right? There's an ad going on Facebook. You are a plumber, you're selling your services, and someone clicks on that ad and it takes them to this WhatsApp number and they message the business. They're like, guys, my sink is blocked. Come over. What are your charges, etc. Right? And then when you reply back to those guys, to the customer or your client, within 24 hours, you don't pay a single cent, right? So that's the test setup. And so I don't want to get carried away and give you everything in the beginning because you're going to get confused. Let's take this step by step. And that's the reason I have these slides here. And these slides, by the way, these are beautiful. And this was done through Claude code. And if you want to know how to do this, let me know. But yeah, so we're going to use Meta's own API. And you don't need any kind of provider. You don't pay any monthly fee. You don't have to pay upfront. Okay, you don't need to verify anything as well. Because businesses usually need to verify that they're a business and they're genuine, right? So plus the 2 steps most people get stuck on. So there are a couple of steps which I, to be honest, also got stuck on. And there's no harm in telling that because I've been in the field for like 12 years, right? I know coding. I'm an electrical engineer. Like I've done project management for big names in the industry, right? And you can see my hat here, or cap rather. It's from the police. So I was in the Edmonton police as well. So we've done crazy stuff, right? If I can do it, you guys can do it too. So what are we gonna be using essentially is, so this is the backbone, right? You're gonna have WhatsApp Cloud API and you're gonna have N8N and you're gonna have Claude. So you need these 3 things. So for Claude, obviously you need the $20 pro membership. And I think it's more than enough. I have the max, but to be honest, I don't even scratch the surface. Let's move forward, right? Because there's lots of stuff to cover today. And I hope this video is not going to be longer than 30 minutes. I hope. Fingers crossed, because I'm keeping it raw, guys, right? I've seen a trend of people polishing things out and taking out stuff which is where they messed up, but I'm going to keep it in, right? Because that's what makes me authentic. and it's actually easier on me as well because I don't have to edit a lot. So what are we building today? So there are 3 steps essentially. The third one is where people get stuck. The whole thing takes about 15 minutes. I hope so, if you don't break stuff again. And here's how it breaks down. So the first step is basically to get the credentials from Meta. And to get credentials from Meta, you need a Meta account, right? So we're going to go through that process. I'm going to go, that's going to be in part 2, by the way. And you would need a free test number, and that's your business number, okay? And you need an access token, and you need 2 other IDs, which we're going to talk about later. You don't need to purchase anything. You don't need any documents. Hello? These guys are crazy. Anyway, so you don't need any documents and you don't need any credit card. Okay, cool stuff. And it's going to take you around 5 minutes, the whole process. And then once you do that, you need to connect them in init-n. And you need 2 different credentials, right? So there are 2 nodes for WhatsApp, the API, but they have different requirements. When I actually did that, so I'm going to show it to you right now here. So 2 nodes here. And I was confused myself. Like I was like, whatever we need to have here is going to be the same thing here, but it's not. Okay. And as you can see, this workflow is pretty small, right? But it's going to get huge, and we're going to take it step by step. Not in today's video, obviously, right? Because we are just setting up the bare bone structure so that you can actually at least start communicating with the business, and the business communicates back to the customer. That's the only thing we're going to do today. All right. We're going to have one model here, which is Claude. You could have ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever you prefer. So I prefer Claude. The next step obviously is to connect them in init-n. You're going to have 2 different credentials, not 1. And this is where most people go wrong without realizing it. And it should take around like 4 minutes. Yeah, maybe 4 to 5 minutes. Cool. And then the third step, the 2 hidden steps that make receiving work. So this is the tricky bit. All right. So once you publish the app, then you need to subscribe the account to it. This is where I messed up when I was doing this myself before I recorded this video, right? So if you miss either one, nothing arrives and nothing tells you why. Okay. So basically what happened was that I was able to text to the business number, and the business received it. So I was looking at the logs and I could see it, right? So I was unable to receive messages from the business. So the model, the Claude Code node, did not process anything and send out anything. Okay. So we're going to talk about that trap as well. And what's worth knowing up front, the platform is free. You don't have to pay any monthly fee. It's the official Meta's own API. You connect directly. You don't need to involve any third parties. You don't have to get any risks of getting banned, because you can search it online. There is always a risk to be banned because there is stuff you could do that Meta or WhatsApp does not want you to do. For example, blasting out or broadcasting out bunch of messages and stuff like that. So the other thing is that you get a free test number. You don't need any credit card, and you pay per message. That's only if you start the conversation, and replies are always going to be free within 24 hours. So yeah, perfect. So let's move forward now. And before we start, the free tools that cost you the number. So if you've searched for this before, you've probably been pointed at one of these. Here's why I don't touch them. So we're going to talk about why I don't prefer to use these third parties. Obviously, the first one is they're damn expensive. Okay. And for us beginners who are testing this out, I think it's not worth it, right? $55? Nah. So we have these 4 different what do you call the tools, right? So these are 4 different tools: Bailey's, Evolution API, Waha, and Unipile. So Bailey's is free, self-hosted, QR based. The same thing goes for Evolution API and Waha. And then Unipile, which is the most famous of this lot, is paid, it's managed, and it's still QR based. Now, even if these are self-hosted, if they're free, there's still a risk. So why are they not worth it? Well, they all work, that's for sure, but they all do the same thing underneath. They run WhatsApp web on a server and pretend to be a phone. Meta, so basically when you say that they pretend to be a phone, it's the business phone, right? So Meta can tell, and when it notices the number, it is banned for good with no chance of you appealing for a review. So paying for one doesn't make it official. So if you're paying these guys, it doesn't make it official, right? Because Unipile has a 7-day trial. So maybe worth doing a video and seeing how different or how easy or difficult is it compared to my method. So yeah, I mean, and you do that to a client's number and there's no undoing it. Exactly, right? If you do it for your own test purpose, if it breaks, if you get banned, that's fine. But if you get a business number banned, well, that's not good, right? That's not good. So how does it work, right? Sending and receiving are two different jobs. Once this clicks for you guys, the rest of the setup is going to make proper sense. Okay. It's the one idea worth slowing down for. So a guy sending and a guy receiving, it's totally different. Okay. Same thing here. So what happens here is that the connection from init to Meta, which is outbound, which basically means that when the customer texts the business, it works immediately. Okay. You knock on the door, that's outbound, right? init calls out to Meta. Everyone knows where Meta lives. Okay. Nothing to configure beyond a credential. That's pretty obvious. And this is why it feels like you're already done. So when you think that, okay, I've got the connection from init to Meta, we're done. No, that's where it's tricky, right? So the connection from Meta back to you also needs to be there, right? And it's not there. So the connection, which is inbound connection, the connection coming from the business to the customer, is not connected automatically. So you have to give them your address. Meta has to reach into your init, okay? And nobody's told it where that is. That address is the webhook. init registers it for you. Then you can post a letter, or in our case, a message anytime. For anything to come back, they need your address. All right, we are already 17 minutes in and I haven't even started the setup. So let's start building it, okay? So I'm gonna go back here to the other screen. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is go to developers.facebook.com and you're gonna get a page here and you need to log in. So we need to use our normal Facebook account. So I already had done this process. So if you're doing this for the first time, it's going to ask you to register as a developer. So you're going to click through that and it would want your phone number and it would also ask for an email that you need to verify. Okay. And it's going to also ask you for a primary role. You just need to select developer or anything. It doesn't matter. But developers is much better because it's Meta for developers, right? So I'm going to click on continue with Facebook. Okay. And that's my Facebook account. Don't stalk me, guys. Let me put my password in. All right. So I just logged in and I am greeted with this page, which is pretty much the same. So the only thing that changed is the login and now it says my app. So I'm going to click on my apps. So I already created one for testing purposes and I archived it. And you also should be seeing something similar. You wouldn't have any apps here. And we are going to create an app. Now, when we say create an app, we're not actually creating an app, right? We're just building out a container so that you can dump everything into it, right? The connection to init and all that stuff. So it's like a box where you add stuff so that Meta knows where to actually send out those connections and what kind of connections it needs, right? So I'm going to hit create app. All right. So the first thing here is that it's going to take us through a bunch of steps. You have app details, use cases, business requirements and overview. We're going to start with the app name. Let's say I'm doing this for a business. I'm testing it out for them and they are named Copperline Plumbing. Okay. You are going to add your app contact email so that if there's any issues with the app and they need to send you emails, it's going to land into this email box. I'm going to hit next. you need to find stuff which is obviously related to WhatsApp. And we do have it right in the featured one. So it says connect with customers through WhatsApp. Start a WhatsApp conversation, send notifications, create ads that click to WhatsApp and provide support. Business portfolio required. So we're going to go through that obviously. And it says some use cases can't be combined on the same app. Create another app if you need to add use cases that aren't combinable. We don't need that. So hit next. So what kind of business is this? Which business portfolio do you want to connect to this app? Okay. So I'm going to create a business portfolio. What it would do is it's going to create a new business portfolio and it's going to be shown as a Facebook page. So for example, if you want to run ads, you want to do stuff and you want to get leads from Facebook, it's going to show up as Copperline Plumbing or whatever the business name is, right? So I'm just going to name it the same, Copperline Plumbing. Okay, I'm going to create portfolio. So after a few seconds, it says that Copperline Plumbing was created. Verify your portfolio to help Meta understand who is creating apps on this platform. Verification is required to submit to app review and access data owned by people outside your business. Obviously, we are just doing this for test purpose, so we don't need to verify. I'm just going to say verify later, but it's always better to verify if you want to take it down the next level. Okay, I'm going to click Copperline Plumbing. I'm going to say next. It says publishing requirements. These are the steps you need to complete to get and maintain access to user and business data. No requirements identified. You're good there. We're going to hit next. So it's going to give you an overview. Just make sure everything is perfect as you need. And then you're going to hit create app. All right. So after we created the app, we landed on the dashboard. And now we want to go through these 3 steps so that we are ready to actually test out our bot, right? WhatsApp bot or WhatsApp automation, whatever you want to call it. So first things first, I am going to click customize the connect with customers through WhatsApp use case. That brings us to this page here, customize use case. So customize use case settings and permissions to make your app work the way you want it to. And we're going to go through all these steps here. Okay. We don't need to do everything within those steps, but I'm going to show you what we exactly need. Okay. So select your business portfolio. Okay, you will receive a WhatsApp test phone number, which is the business phone number in our case, to send messages to a maximum of 5 phone numbers. All right, so heads up that you can only test 5 phone numbers because that's the whole purpose, right? So basically those 5 numbers, you could have 5 family members test it out, make sure that it doesn't break. We're going to hit continue and it's going to take a couple of seconds. All right, so now it's going to give you a guided experience to set up your WhatsApp number and send messages in 30 minutes. So choose your integration type. You're going to say integrate with API, which is correct. And then step 1 is to try it out. Send a message from your test number to understand how WhatsApp API works. So I'm going to click this. That's step 1. It's now going to give you the business number. It's going to auto generate it. Okay. All right. So we just claimed a WhatsApp test number. So this is our test number. So now it's the part where you start copying your stuff to a Word document or Notepad. So I have one open on the left. So I'm just going to start filling that out. So the first thing I want to copy is the number. I'm just going to paste it here. Then the second thing I need is the phone number. So I'm just going to copy this and the phone number ID, actually not the phone number ID. And then I need the WhatsApp business account ID. I'm going to copy this here and I'm going to paste it here. And it says that access token not generated yet. So I'm going to generate a token. By the way, this it's going to ask you to log in just to confirm that it's the right person, because these access tokens can be misused, right? So I'm just going to select this. I'm going to hit save. And it says what Wakas has been connected to copper line plumbing. Okay, perfect. And it gave me a access token. I'll just copy that and I'm going to paste it in my Word document here. All right, cool stuff. So that's done. For new apps, it will take a minute for your test phone number to be registered before you can send a message below. So next up is the step 2 within step 1. All right, so now it says send a message from your test number. It's going to take about 2 minutes to complete. So I need a recipient number. So I am going to open this up. I'm going to add my phone number here. So I have a Canadian number. I'm going to go here, 587. I was actually going to give out my phone number. Never mind. So I'm just going to blur this out later anyway. And it's going to give me a verification number on my phone. Let's see if I got it. Oh, I did get it. Oh, so I got the verification code and I'm just going to paste that in 92680. I'm going to hit next. Now I am going to open my WhatsApp on the desktop. I'm pretty sure you know how to link it, right? If you don't, let me know in the comments or ask me directly. Okay, so give me 1 second. All right, so now what we are going to do is we're going to send out a test message to the customer, which is our message, our number, okay, and see if it works. And once that works, and by the way, we haven't even touched N8N right now. So this is something which is going to go directly from Meta to our number. Okay, so I'm going to send out a order confirmation message. I'm going to click send message and fingers crossed. And look at that, guys. So you can see this here. It's the exact number, which is the business, which is copper line, whatever, plumbing. And I'm going to click this and it's a business account, which is awesome. And it gave out a standard templated message from developers.facebook, and which means at least one part of the equation is working now. So you can now get a message from the business to the customer, which is the exact thing which is going to break when you go to N8N. Okay, so because for this to work in N8N, that's going to be a different process. Okay, so I hope everything is pretty clear up to now. So perfect. So step 1 is done. We claimed a WhatsApp test number. We send out a message from this test number. And now let's move on to the next step here. So step 2, we want to make sure that we have followed the process. Now, step 2, to be honest, is more about actually getting a business number. To convert this test number into an actual business number, it's going to go through that verification process, make sure that it's a real, genuine business and all that stuff, right? But there's one step here, which is configure webhooks, which is really important if you want to ensure your N8N works properly. So now what do we do? It says set up a webhook endpoint to get notified about incoming messages and status updates. Now, the good thing here is that we don't have to do anything right now. When we publish the workflow in N8N, all right, we're not going to publish anything now until we configure these nodes, right? Once we publish this, it's going to automatically send out the connection to Meta, and it's going to get that callback URL and verify token populated. Okay, so you're going to see this populated in a short while. So now let's go ahead and start configuring our N8N. Actually, before that, there's another thing we need to do for this other node here, this one, which is basically sending a reply to the customer, which is what we actually tested before. We need 2 other pieces of information. So where do you get that? You need to go into app settings here and then basic. And then you need 2 pieces of information, that is the app ID and the app secret. And while we are here, I want to make sure that you have your privacy policy added. So this is the privacy policy for my website. So essentially it shouldn't be this, right? This is just a bypass. The actual privacy policy should come from the business. For example, Copper Line Plumbing should have their own policy, and you're going to throw that in here. Okay. And then that's the only thing you need for this thing to work. Before you save, you need to copy these IDs as well. I'm just going to copy this. So I am going to copy this into my document here. All right. So now I have every piece of information that needs to actually go into N8N. So I'm going to save this since we already added this privacy policy, and we're going to start configuring our N8N. So let's start with this node here. Let's just start with this node, the send reply to customer. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to set up my credentials, and I'm going to add in the access token, paste it here. And I'm also going to paste the business account ID, make sure it's the right one. And then I'm going to hit save. And it says credentials successfully created inside your personal space. Perfect. What was that? There was some error. Oh yeah. So the other thing we want to do is obviously we need the phone number as well. So I'm going to copy that phone number. Actually, you can just get it from the drop down menu. So I'm just going to add that here. So this is the business phone number, right? Where are we actually sending the reply from to the customer? So this is the number, and this is set up. So there's no errors here, all good. Now we want to configure this node. The customer sends a message node. I'm going to double click here. I'm going to set up a credential again, and this time I need the client ID. So I'm going to copy the client ID here. That's the app ID. I'm going to paste the app ID here, and the app secret, or the client secret in our case. And I'm going to click save, and everything which was red, errored out, is cool now. Now, do we need to run anything? Well, no. That's the whole process, right? That's the whole purpose, that we don't need to run anything. We need to switch this publish on. So let's actually test it out. I'm going to hit publish. And now I'm going to go back to Copper Line Plumbing's meta site. And I am going to go into the dashboard. And then I'm going to go into customize. And we're actually going to see some new things populated. You remember the webhook we were talking about? The connection has now been established with N8N and Meta. Okay, so it's going to take a couple of seconds. Then I'm going to click on step 2, the production setup. All right, so now we are in the production setup. We're going to click on configure webhooks. Just notice that it is already checked, which means that it is populated. And yes, you can confirm that you get a callback URL from N8N, and you also have the verify token done. And if you go back, or actually go down, you can see that the messages is subscribed. So now you can actually test it out, and let's see if it works. All right, so now I have the WhatsApp desktop open here on the side, and I am gonna act like a customer and see if I actually get a reply or not from this chat. Hi, do you unblock drains? So assuming that I saw their ad and it brought me back to this WhatsApp chat window, and this is my first message. Let's see. Hit enter. It's a double take, which is good. Let's see if it works. I'll give you the spoiler. It won't work. It does go through though. It does go through. So let me just minimize this for now. All right, so I went into step 1, which is try it out. And right down here, it says check test webhooks. And the latest one here is a payload, which says, hi, do you unblock drains? So one thing is confirmed that the message actually reached Meta. Why did our N8N not reply back to us? I'll tell you why. Let me just go back to our slides for now. So Meta saw the message, it logged the whole payload, which is what we just saw, and it dropped it on the floor. It did not give out any error. It did not show a failed run. So if we go into init-n, if we go into init-n and look at the executions, it did not show any error. It says succeeded. Then everything's checked over here. So why did we not get a reply on WhatsApp? Interesting, right? So I'll tell you why. Where does it go wrong? There are 4 ways this fails without telling you. So all 4 look exactly the same from outside. Your message sends, you get 2 ticks, right? We saw that. And init-n sits there doing nothing. There's no error to search for, which is why most people give up here. They're like, why does this not work? So number 1, reason could be credentials. You only set up 1. Okay. Sending uses the access token. Receiving uses app ID and a secret on a different screen. We already made sure that we don't mess that up. So we're good there. So this is not the issue. Let's go to the second one. Verify token. You made one up. init-n makes its own and never shows you. Anything you type will never match it. So if you just make a token yourself, well, it's obviously not going to work. That's not our issue as well. So let's go to the third one. This looks interesting. It says the app is unpublished. Meta does warn you about this. It's easy to scroll past. Did we see that? Did we see anything about publish? Let's come back to it later. So what about number 4 here? Subscription. The account isn't subscribed. There's no button for it. init-n can do it, and the wizard never mentions it. So we need to do this in the right order. We need to publish the app before you generate a access token. Publishing wipes the token, so doing it the other way around just means generating it twice. So this is where we went wrong. Okay. What we need to do is we need to go back here in the dashboard and let's look at the test use cases. Maybe we missed something here. All right. So now you might have already seen it. It's here, publish, right? It's unpublished right now. So if we hit publish, all right. So for publishing, we just need to hit publish here, right in the bottom corner. And it's maybe under my face here. I'm just going to move this, and this is the one. I'm going to hit publish and move this back here. We'll give it a few seconds and we get a window here which says your app was successfully published and it's available for public to use. Perfect. So are we done? Everything is good. Will it work now? Well, not exactly. So there's one more thing remaining, and I want to do that first, and then we'll talk about why we face this issue. Okay. So I'm going to go into developers.facebook.com/tools/explorer. Okay. And we need to make some changes here. So the access token seems okay. I don't think there should be a problem, but if you look at the Meta app here, for me, it should have been copper line plumbing because this was the earlier one. So that's an issue, which is good. We found that out. So I'm just gonna test, make sure that it's good. And for the user or page, we're gonna keep that as is. It should be user token. So if you don't have these 2 permissions here, WhatsApp Business Management and WhatsApp Business Messaging, make sure that these are there. So the next thing we want to do is change this from get to post, and then we want to delete this. So what we want to do is we want to add this here. So it's going to be paste your business account ID. So I'm going to go back to my Word document and get the business account ID, and I'm going to paste it in place of this, and I am going to submit, and fingers crossed, it says success, true, which means that it should have worked. And I'm going to change this back to get, and I'm going to submit again, and you should get the name, which is correct, and you should also get the category, which is correct. And if the data here comes back empty, the post did not take it. All right, so I'm going to go back to my apps here. We are in the dashboard, and I am just going to go, actually, you know what? Let's just open WhatsApp and test it again. If it doesn't work, we're going to troubleshoot again. So I'm just going to copy this again because I'm lazy. And I'm going to say, hi, do you unblock drains? Is the chatbot happy with us, or is he still... Oh, wow. Look at that, guys. So, hi there. Yes, drain unblocking is one of our specialities. Is it a sink, toilet, or outdoor drain that's giving you trouble? It's a sink block. Let's see what happens. Got it. Is it draining slowly or completely blocked? Completely blocked. When can you come? We can get someone out to you Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's a $45 call out fee, which covers the first 30 minutes on site. What area are you in and when suits you best? Wow, look at that, guys. So, which means that after some troubleshooting, we actually got this to work. Now, what actually happened? Now, let me give you the backstory. Don't publish it before. Make sure that you go through all of these steps that we've done. Publish it here. Make those changes in the Explorer tab that we did earlier. And that's when you turn this on. Okay. Now it's working. Your WhatsApp chatbot is connected. And let me just go back to my slides here and explain what the issue was. So this is the bit that nobody explains, right? There are two switches, not one. So N8N flips the first one for you the moment you hit active. Nothing flips the second one. Okay, so your message reaches Meta, it gets logged and stops right here. So what happened here is that the customer, which was our WhatsApp, we send a message, we asked it that, hey, do you unclog drains or whatever? It goes to the WhatsApp business account number, the test number, the event is created and it's logged. And then the switch 2, which was supposed to happen, it was supposed to give us back reply, right? And it didn't happen because it wasn't subscribed, right? Nobody flips this on. The Meta app must be published. So if you forget to publish that, the message would just die there, right? And it's not gonna even tell you that, oh, you need to publish before you receive the message. Otherwise, for example, the message didn't go, you could have understood, okay, there's something I missed, but the message already goes and it doesn't reply back, and that's the confusing part, right? And then what really happens is that the switch 1, it's a callback URL, and N8N does this for you, and then N8N receives nothing, right? So switch 1, we had handled it. We were able to send messages, events to this address. N8N registers this itself the moment you activate. That's what the app ID and app secret are for. Then nobody flips this, right? The second switch. This WhatsApp account is allowed to feed that app. One call, this is what we did, right? It's not in the setup wizard and N8N can't do it for you. So this part was also important. So hopefully you understood what that was. We already applied the fix. Now, what does it cost, right? So the customer holds the timer, right? Meta switched to per message pricing on the 1st of July, 2025. So if you've read that you get 1,000 free conversations a month, that's the old model. And I'm pretty sure there's so many tutorials out there on YouTube that do this, right? They tell you have 1,000 conversations in a month, back and forth, whoever initiates, but it's not true. What a message costs you, all right? So the rate is set by the recipient's country, not yours. Firstly, the reply inside the 24-hour window is going to be free. So if a customer messages you, it opens a 24-hour window. Inside it, you can reply with anything you like, free of cost, as many times as you want. Every new message from them restarts the 24 hours. So for example, they reply to you, after 5 hours within that 24-hour window, it's going to restart that 24-hour timer, right? So your own replies don't restart it, okay? So for example, you actually do this for a customer, this is what's going to happen. And so a bot that answers people who message in is basically free to run. So as a business, you can tell them that it's free to run as long as the customer or the leads message you, which is awesome, right? Businesses are going to adapt this if this is the value it's getting, right? It's free. So you only pay when you start a conversation, when you want to contact, be proactive, and try to get leads yourself, right? Maybe you have some emails, you have some numbers stored as leads, and you want to blast out some promotions and all that stuff, right? And that needs a pre-approved template, and you can't even do that yourself, right? Meta provides you some templates and you need to utilize them. And then the other thing is that we have different rates. If, for example, you initiate a message to the customer, you have different rates, right? India is pretty cheap. United States is like 0.025 per message. And then you have 0.038 pounds for United Kingdom. And then you have 0.11 euros for Germany marketing. So WhatsApp marketing it's pretty cheap, but it could get expensive, right? Depending on how many contacts you have. So for example, you have 1,000 contacts and you are in Germany, pretty steep, I'd say. So it really depends. WhatsApp is a big thing in the Middle East, in the South Asian market. I'm not sure how it performs in the US. Maybe we could do a video on a comparison between SMS marketing and then WhatsApp marketing. So you know about the rule now. One thing that is not true. A lot of articles say you have to go through a business solution provider to use the API. Well, you don't. Direct access is open to anyone with a Meta account, which is exactly what we just did with no provider and no card. So you just saw that I had my personal Facebook account. I just created a business and we were able to actually do that communication with our test number. So if someone tells you otherwise, they're lying, right? The actual cost is later when you actually transfer this test environment into a production environment, when you actually purchase the number and when you actually start sending out messages to your customers, right? So which route to take? Build, wait, or never? So if you remember one thing from all of this, make it this, okay? So build, Cloud API Direct. What we just did, right? It's free to use, official, and nobody takes a cut. This covers almost everyone, whether you are learning or setting it up real business. So guys, test it out, build this out. I've already laid out all the steps for free. People, this is funny, guys. This is funny. People are going to charge you hundreds of dollars for a webinar like this. Okay. They're going to be like, we are going to teach you how to connect or build a WhatsApp automation that businesses actually pay for. Well, I've already made that for you, right? That's the whole setup, guys. This is the tough part. This is the easy part is just adding stuff like, bookings and customer support, which actually stores information for your business, getting leads and all that stuff. That's the easy stuff, right? The basic, the foundation, the tough one. And we've already done that. So go ahead and build this, right? Don't wait. A BSP for one specific reason. Only worth paying for if a business needs to keep its existing chat history. Otherwise, you are paying a middleman for something Meta hands you for free. The only thing, if you want to wait, is the only condition is that build this out, test this out. But if you want to use a BSP, for example, Unipile or something else, that's only when you want to transfer an existing number. So let's say it's a very, old business and they have this number that is really famous and they don't want to get a new number for their business and they have a lot of chat history that they want to transfer over, and you can't do that with a new number, right? But there are other methods to save that history and use a database to actually connect it with this new number. Well, that's the application, right? That's what businesses are going to pay you for. All right. And then the thing you should never do is QR code tools like Bailey's, Evolution API, Waha, Unipile. I would not recommend it, even if it's free, even if it's a self-hosted version, even if it's paid. They all work the same way underneath, and Meta can tell. You could get a permanent ban and you can't even appeal. So it's not worth the risk on your own number, let alone a client's, right? So we good with that. And the workflow that we just saw is in the community. You just need to download the file, imported, and then you're going to be at the same level where we are, and then you can follow along this tutorial and the walkthrough, and you will be able to run this without any issues. So the SKOOL community is free to join. I am going to keep it free until 15 members. Once we hit the 15 member mark, I'm going to start adding in a nominal fee, maybe just $1, because I don't want to gatekeep information. All right. So if you want to join, you are going to be one of the founding members, and it's going to be free for life. By the way, the founding members, whoever joins free, it's going to be free until the end of time. Okay. Until SKOOL makes any change or something, right? So you're going to get the full n8n workflow, and you're going to get every build from this channel that we have. And if you're stuck, the good thing is that we have a community. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to my community members. So this is the SKOOL community link. I'm going to have it in the description as well. So before you go, guys, I would love if you guys can subscribe, share the video, show some love. I really put my heart into this. It took me almost an hour. It's more than an hour. I'm going to trim down some parts and see where it goes to, but it's good. It's a long video, right? And it's raw. I've shown you mistakes. I've shown you challenges that you could face. And I would really love if you join the community. It's free. The link is in the description. And next up, we're going to be giving this whole automation more real business knowledge, practical business application. So make sure you join us in the next one. I'm going to see you. Let's keep on building.